Hi yogis, welcome to practice. My name is Stevie. We're going to be working towards triangle pose and pyramid today. So the triangle is the strongest shape. It can hold the most weights. It's a very structurally sound shape. We're going to put our bodies into that shape today and see if we can conjure up that same feeling of strength and rootedness that a triangle might give to like the structure of a bridge or something like that. We're going to start in butterfly pose. So bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall out wide. Look down between your legs. You'll notice that if you drew a line from inner knee to inner knee, you would have two triangles. That's what we're going for. You want those shapes to look about the same. So make this feel comfortable. You can draw your heels away from you if that feels better, or closer towards your torso if that feels better, your choice. If this feels like a lot of action in the hips, the inner thighs, take your two blocks and just place them under your knees for support. So you can set them in there at an angle. They'll kind of just catch your thighs at the angle that they're resting on, and that can be really nice. And once you come to your triangle legs, your butterfly pose, imagine that your knees are reaching out to the edges of your room. So we're not trying to shove the knees down. They're reaching, looking for length straight out of the hip sockets. Sit up nice and tall. You can grab your ankles if that's accessible. And then you're going to begin to hinge forward. So you're drawing forward from your chest and the crown of the head, and the hips are reaching back. When you get to where you feel like you can't reach anymore, let your head drop down. So your chin's coming towards the chest. You may be folded in a lot here. You may be sitting up really high, and that's totally fine. Wherever you start to feel that stretch, stop, stay, and tack onto your breath. So our breath practice today is going to be while we're sitting here in butterfly. We close our eyes. Maybe you're folded in. And just notice your breath coming and going. We're not counting. We're not changing the breath. We're just noticing it. So the breath comes in, fills up the rib cage, fills up the lungs. The lungs fill with air and massage the heart. And then the breath recedes. It releases from the body. Everything kind of collapses in for a minute. We breathe in and we expand. We breathe out and we contract. So maybe just focus on one body part. Maybe that's the ribs and the way they move with the breath. Maybe that's the chest or the belly. Find one point in your body and notice the breath coming and going there. Two more breaths. And then as we come out of the pose, we'll take one big breath together, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Walk your way back up, sit nice and tall. Remove any props if you have props under your legs. Extend your legs long for a minute. Roll out the ankles. You can point and flex. You can windshield wiper your feet back and forth, whatever you like. Then this right leg is going to come out to about a 45-degree angle, and the left foot is going to rest on the inner seam of that leg. Start to rock back and forth on your sit bones until your chest is facing in the direction of your extended leg. And this is half butterfly or Janu Sirsasana. Once you kind of have your chest in alignment with that long leg, bring your fingertips down to the mat. And you're just going to do the same thing here. You're walking forward any amount. This is all I've got today. I'm coming right here. And I'm just gonna stay for a minute. Find that breath again. I'm going to notice the breath breathing into my back here, my low back. So I'm just gonna notice it coming and going from that one space. And walk your hands back, sit nice and tall. Bring your chest back through the center, switch out your legs. So the left leg's coming out to a 45-degree angle. Right foot rests on the inner seam of that leg. Again, find that rocking, this nice fluid motion until your chest starts to turn and lengthen over towards that long leg. Sit up nice and tall and then come forward. Again, any amount will do. Maybe you're way up high. If you're way up high, bring your blocks. Let them help you out. Bring the earth to you and just settle into the pose. Again, finding one spot in the body to focus your breath. This time I'm going to take it to the opposite side of my low back and just notice the breath coming and going there. Nice, easy breath in. An easy breath out, and then make your way back up to a tall seat. Move any props out of the way. Extend your legs long, roll out those ankles again. Whatever feels good. Cross your shins or your ankles, roll over your shins and make your way into tabletop position. So we find our alignment in tabletop position first. So wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips, nice elongated spine reaching through the crown of the head. We're going to draw some huge circles with our right hip. So the knee is guiding this motion. The knee is going to come up and around. We're just really greasing up that right hip joint, opening it up. And then take your circles in the opposite direction. So back behind you, out to the side, and then down and around. You'll notice that hip starts to heat up pretty quick. It's a good motion for loosening up the hip joint. Come and pause through center. Just find your tabletop and really notice that tingling and warmth in your hip. From here, we're going to rise up onto our shins. Extend your right leg out to the side. It's at a little bit of an angle, so not completely straight out from the hip. A little bit up towards the front of your space. Peel the toes up towards the ceiling. This is gate pose. We're going to inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, the right hand's coming down towards your right leg. Left arm reaches up and over. You're really opening the side body. Come through center. Exhale takes the left hand down to the mat, up on the fingers, and the right hand reaches up and over. So we've got this little triangle going on with our legs. Inhale through center. Exhale to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale to the left. And you can always take your gaze up, kind of open your arm a little, take your gaze down, find some movement in your gate pose if you'd like. Some fluidity. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, the hands are coming to the heart. Draw that leg in, set it down, make your way back to tabletop position. And we're going to take those hip circles on the left side this time. So really find your tabletop position alignment. And then begin to draw those huge circles with that hip. And the knee is guiding this movement. And this opens the low back, the entire hip socket. And take your circles in the other direction. Yes. And then set it down. Take a minute, notice. Notice that glittering sensation. The cells getting all happy from you giving some attention just to that one hip. From here, we come up onto our shins. Left foot's coming out. High up on that. We're resting on the heel and the toes are coming high up. Inhale your arms straight up. Exhale over towards the left. Reaching, maybe you gaze up, maybe you gaze down, maybe just kind of undulate that upper arm. Inhale through center. Exhale to the right. Reaching, 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 checking out that triangle shape with your legs. Inhale through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center, reach through the fingers. Exhale to the right. Inhale back through center, palms touch. Exhale, hands come down to rest at the heart. Draw that left knee to meet the right knee. Find your tabletop position. Find your alignment first. Walk your hands forward, one hand prints. Tuck your toes. Take the hips high down dog. Keep a nice bend in those knees and begin to pedal, walking your dog. Bending one knee and then the other. The fingertips are gripping into the mat. The head hangs between the arms, hips are high, legs are long. Nice. Inhale and rise up high on your tiptoes. Exhale, set your heels down towards the mat. Inhale, rise up high on your tiptoes, come forward into plank. Drop your knees down to where they're just hovering right above the mat. And then send your chest back towards your thighs. Straighten your legs down, dog. So that's our little flow. Inhale high on the tiptoes, roll forward to plank. Knees come towards the mat. Chest comes towards the thighs. Send the hips high, down dog. Two more like that. Inhale high on the toes. Roll forward, plank. Knees come towards the mat to a hover. Chest to the thighs. Straighten the legs. Inhale high on the toes. Roll forward to plank. Bring the knees to a hover. Send the chest back. Downward facing dog. Hang out here for 3 breaths. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one. Breathing in. And breathing out. Inhale, rise up high on your toes and tiptoe your way all the way to the top of the mat. Folding in, Uttanasana. Take your feet a little wider than hips width. Grab opposite elbows. And gently sway out that low back. Let the head hang heavy. Let the spine release and unfurl. The hamstrings, the backs of the legs become loose and ready for these other triangle and pyramid poses we're working into today. Let your movement settle through center until you're just hanging heavy. Hang for a minute. Bring your hands to your hips. Root down through your feet. Press through the heels and rise up with a long spine. Stand tall, mountain pose. So you're at the top of your mat in mountain pose. Really rooting in. Take a nice deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart. Bow in and dedicate your practice today. What made you turn this video on? What do you need? What do you want to give your energy to? Beautiful. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. We're going to continue like that. Inhale, reach up. Palms touch. Exhale, follow your hands down. Fold forward. 3 more. Inhale, sweep up, reach up. Exhale, follow your palms down. Inhale, reach up, gather up all the goodness for your day. Palms touch, exhale, fold. Last one, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Palms, fingertips, whatever finds the mat. Bend your knees, look forward, step your right foot back, drop your knee. So you can use your blocks here. Bring that earth closer up to your hands. And we're just hanging out in this nice low lunge. We're not going to raise our arms. We're just settling in with our hips. Just breathing, sending the hips forward. And drawing the shoulder blades down. Very nice. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee up off the mat. So you're coming into runner's lunge. You're going to inhale and come forward. Shine that heart forward. Exhale, straighten the front leg and fold over it. Inhale, bend, look forward. Exhale, straighten and fold. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more here, bending in. Bring your back foot up just a little bit. We're going to sink into pyramid pose. So straighten that front leg. Turn your torso towards the shin of that left leg. So your nose is coming towards the center of your shin. We're going to find that length first. Use your blocks. Really elongate through the spine. And if this is enough for you, it might fire up the back of that leg pretty quick. Just stay. Otherwise, begin to fold over the front leg. Bring your blocks to whatever height feels good and helps you. The legs are firm. The left toes are pointing straight towards the front of the mat. The right toes are also facing the front of the mat, but they're pointed out just a little bit towards the right. Draw your left hip back. Beautiful. Take a nice bend into your front knee. Get a little bouncy, 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 and pop up to the top of the mat. Fold in. Hang heavy. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Bring your hands to your hips. Root through your feet. Rise up, long spine. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, hands to the heart. We're going to do 5 more of those little watery mountain flows. Inhale, reach up. Palms touch. Exhale, fold. Fingertips graze the mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Reach up. Breathe. Reach. Exhale, fold. 2 more. Inhale, reach up. Gather up. Exhale, fold. Nice long spine. Hips go back. Last one. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Settle in for a minute before we head to the second side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, look forward, step your left foot back this time. Drop your back knee. Again, blocks are highly encouraged in this pose. It's an intense pose for that front hip flexor, the left hip flexor. Let the hips draw forward and down. Use your breath. Notice where your body is asking for some breath to help free up the pose. For me, that's the very front of my left hip flexor, my psoas muscle. Breathing, breathing, breathing. Beautiful. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee. We're going to come into that bending and straightening here. So we bend a little deeper and look forward. Exhale, straighten the legs. You can even peel your toes off of that, the front foot coming up onto your heel when you straighten the front leg. Inhale, come forward, look forward, bend your front knee. Exhale, straighten the legs. Inhale, forward, lunge. Exhale, straighten. Inhale and bend. Exhale and straighten. Inhale and bend in. Hop your left foot up just a little bit and then straighten the legs into pyramid pose. So finding that length first, draw your right hip way back. It likes to open up. Draw it back into the socket. Inhale for length. Exhale, fold over that front leg. So the nose is coming towards the center of the shin of your front leg. That's your right leg. Folding in, breathing. Inviting in that heat and that shake to the back of this right leg. Using blocks if we need, or not. You can move your hands around if you're super flexy. See what other triangles you can make in your body. It's kind of fun. Take a little bend into your front leg. Get a little bouncy. Hop to the top of the mat. Fold in. Hang. Let the backs of the legs smooth out a little bit. Maybe give them some love. You can give them a little slap. You can give them a little rub. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Root through the feet, rise up, reach up. Look up. Exhale, hands come down to the heart. Nice. Take a giant step back with your right foot and drop your heel straight towards the center. So your back foot is parallel with the back of your mat. You're coming into that warrior two pose that we worked on last week. Take the arms nice and wide. Parallel with the ground. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, straighten your front leg. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, warrior two. Sink a little deeper. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, dip down. Last one. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, dip down. We inhale back through center. So that front leg is becoming straight. Take a peek down at your legs. You want that back foot parallel with the back of the mat. Perhaps your toes turned in just a little bit. You're going to take your arms nice and wide. This is going to be triangle pose. So root through the feet. They are pressing deeply into your mat. Arms are wide. Begin to draw this right hip back. So we're kicking that back hip back a little bit. At the same time, the left hand is reaching way forward. So you've got this big pivoting going on in the body. Right hip reaching back, left hand reaching like there's strings pulling these two pieces. When you get to your max, take your left hand down. It can rest on your shin. It can rest on the mat. It can rest on your block, which actually feels super nice. The right hand reaches straight up, stacking on top of the left. Strong triangle legs. Reaching between both sets of fingertips. Finding space in the torso. Feet reaching into the ground. Draw that left hip back. So you're sucking it back in, kind of closing off the hips. Your gaze can go up. Your gaze can go down. Either way. 2 more breaths in triangle pose. Root through the feet. Rise up and reverse your triangle. So the right hand drops to the back leg. Left arm reaches up. Beautiful. Bend into your knee. Find that warrior two. Send your gaze across the top of your left hand. And then windmill takes you down. Step it back to downward facing dog. Pedal, pedal, pedal. And then make your way up to the top of the mat, just walking your way up. Folding in. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Root through the heels and rise up, reach up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Second side, stepping your left foot way back. Dropping the heel down. Parallel that foot, right? Find your warrior two. Feel the strength of your legs. Inhale, reach up, straighten the front line. Exhale, sink into warrior two. Inhale, reach up. We're firing up the legs, getting them ready for that triangle pose. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sink in. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sink in. Last one, straighten the legs. Check out your alignment with your feet. Take your arms wide, parallel to the ground. That left hip starts to cock back and the right fingers reach. Find your maximum, let your right hand drop. I'm gonna take that block again because it feels fantastic. It's on the inside edge of my right foot. Left arm reaches up, stacks. So really draw this right hip back to square off those hips once you reach the arms up. Yeah. And again, the gaze can go up, the gaze can go down. If you have any tightness in the neck, usually taking the gaze down feels a little better. Find your breath. Press deeply into your feet and rise up. Reverse your triangle. Left arm drops, right arm reaches. Nice proud chest. Send it back to warrior two, so bending that front knee. Find your gaze. And then take your hands down, step it back, downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. Breathing, pedaling, whatever you'd like to do here. Just finding that length in the legs, letting them drain out a little bit. Letting the hips come back to a symmetrical pose right through the center. Bring your knees down to the mat. Big toes touch. Knees go wide, and we're coming into child's pose. So the chest drops right down between the thighs. Head comes down to the mats, perhaps a block if you need, or a blanket. And we're just resting in child's pose. So breathing into the backside of the ribs, the lungs. Noticing the ribs expand towards our thighs. Noticing the belly expanding towards the thighs and towards the mats. Letting things begin to settle. And rock your head from side to side. Release out any tension that might have been built up in your neck. Make your way back up to tabletop, cross your ankles, and sit back behind your legs. Beautiful. Come into a nice, easy seat, Sukhasana. So one shin in front of the other. Grab your knees. And we're going to do just a couple of, I call it coffee grinder. So you're just making these big circles. I am going in a counterclockwise direction. This is to release out the back. So those triangle poses are a bit of a twist on the spine. Come back through center, change the cross of your legs. Take the circles in the opposite direction. So I'm going clockwise this time. And you can make this motion as big or as small as you'd like. Leaning forward and back into the sides. All around. And come through center, sit tall, change the cross of your legs again. Fingertips come out to the sides of your hips. Inhale, reach up. Exhale and take a twist to the right. Right hand comes behind you. Left hand finds the right knee. Big twist, sitting up nice and tall. Proud chest, look back over that back shoulder. Let the shoulders come down. Sometimes they creep up. Let them come down. Firm onto the back. Inhale, make the spine nice and long. As you exhale, unwind head, neck, shoulders all to the front of your mat. Sit for a beat, breathing in, breathing out. One more time, changing the cross of your legs. Fingertips to the side of the hips, touching the mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, gentle twist to the left. Left hand behind you, right hand to the left knee. Gaze over the back shoulder, sit nice and tall. Steady breath. Nice, robust inhale. Exhale, unwind, head, neck, shoulders all face the front. Taking a breath, breathing in, breathing out. Very nice. Bend your knees, place your feet on the mat, wrap your arms around your legs, give yourself a huge squeeze. Tuck the chin to the chest, head comes to the knees. Just soothe yourself with this hug. And then we're going to begin to rock and roll onto our back. As long as you have no spinal pain, if you do, just lay straight back down. We'll meet you there in just a minute. Rocking and rolling back and forth. One more rock and then make your way all the way down to your back. Beautiful. Grab your block. We're going to come into a supported bridge. It's a mild inversion, symmetrical pose to get our body back in line with the spine, to realign the hips. So bend the knees, walk the feet up towards close to the glutes. Take your block. Inhale, press your hips up high and slide your block right under your sacrum. So it's on its second height or lowest height, your choice. Drop the hips down onto the block. Let your arms fall out at your sides. And you want to make sure that your entire sacrum and pelvis is resting firmly on this block. You don't want it on your spine. You want it on your pelvis. Become nice and heavy. Just breathe for a moment, letting your practice settle and integrate into the body. Press into your feet, lift your hips high, remove your block and take it to the side. Extend your right leg long, reach through the heel. Notice the length of that leg. Extend your left leg long, reach through the heel. Notice the length of that leg. Wiggle your shoulder blades up under the body. Let your arms fall at your side. The feet begin to fall away from each other. Let go of any effort in the body and relax into Shavasana, final resting pose. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you like. Don't skip it. It's very important. The place where all the work settles. When you're ready to come out of the pose, begin to add some gentle movement, maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes, rocking the head from side to side. You can let the movement in the fingers and the toes work their way into your ankles and your wrists by way of circles.
And maybe taking a full body stretch. Arms reaching up overhead, toes reaching away from the body, creating a nice hollow belly from the reach. And then roll off to whichever side feels more open. Draw your knees into the chest. Let your head rest on your arm. If you hear snorting, that's my bulldog outside the door trying to come in. Maybe I'll let him come in for a namaste. Whenever you're ready to come out of fetal, gently press your way up to a nice tall seat. Easy seat, Sukhasana. Take a breath. Let it go. Bring the hands to rest right in front of the heart. Bow into the strength of your body. Those triangles that reside, that powerful structural shape that we all have within us. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste. Let's see if the bulldog's out there. His name's Swagger. Hi. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Animals love the yoga. They can sense when you're doing it. You get into a down dog. Cats and dogs usually just come wandering straight under you, like you are a shelter for them, a place for them to wander and play. So let your animal practice with you. He can't stand you because no one will be able to hear anything I said. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Good boy.